Welcome to the Epcotien Adventure,
a podcast where we talk about all things Disney, but we're Epcot-centered.
including tips and tricks, festivals and favorites, and the very latest in our rankings and reviews.
But we're still old enough to remember when we thought that It's Tough to Be a Bug would be a cute little show made for kids.
Yeah, it's not. This is episode 84, Why Disney's Animal Kingdom.
Or, warning, parts of this episode have a countdown to extinction.
So now, please remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the podcast as we embark on our Epcotien Adventure. Howdy, folks, and welcome to episode 84 of the Epcotien Adventure. I'm Rod.
And I'm Sue.
And today we're going to talk about why Animal Kingdom should be part of your Walt Disney World vacation.
Yeah, this is an ongoing series. I believe this is our last one of the Florida parks. And this is basically if you are doing a trip planning session with your family, why should you include Animal Kingdom as part of that? Why shouldn't you focus on just Magic Kingdom for your trip?
Yeah, so first let's talk about what is Animal Kingdom. Well, Animal Kingdom is a theme park at Walt Disney World. It's one of the four main theme parks there, along with Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and Disney's Animal Kingdom. It's the newest of the Walt Disney World theme parks. It opened back on Earth Day, April 22nd of 1998. I remember when I was working there back in the 90s, it was being built at the time, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, this park's huge!
And why are we building a zoo?
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait. It is not a zoo.
Disney's Animal Kingdom. It's many, many things. But remember, it's not a zoo!
It's one of those places that is kind of a hybrid between rides and animals. I mean, Busch Gardens is like this in Tampa. Kings Island was like this when it first opened up in Cincinnati. SeaWorld parks, of course, are like this. But Disney's Animal Kingdom is very unique in that it really is not a zoo. It is a zoological park that is accredited by the AZA, which is the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. They have very high standards. There are zoos that are out there that are not accredited by the AZA, and Disney's Animal Kingdom happens to be. That's how amazing of a place it is.
Well, and not just happens to be. They work really hard at it. The standards that they have for themselves are way higher than even the AZA's standards. They keep themselves to a very, very high standard so that they make sure that those animals are actually taken care of, not just there for your entertainment. It is, well, we should say that it is the largest park, the largest of the Disney parks, and that is because so many of the things that they do for those animals are allowing them to live in an environment that they are familiar with, that they are naturally attracted to, and they don't force the animals to entertain you. I do say that, but there are situations where you're going to...
You'll be entertained by the animals.
Yes.
There is a bird show.
That was the one thing that was what stopped me, was that bird show.
Yeah.
Because they do have them perform.
But they do it in positive reinforcement of natural behaviors.
Yes.
They're not teaching them to be there to entertain you. They're showing what birds do in flight. And
it's not about, if you don't perform today, you don't eat today. It's not like you hear horror stories from the circus or something. This is, the animals are always taken care of, whether they choose to perform for you or not.
Yeah, the biggest part of the park is a savanna where animals are free to roam and intermingle amongst themselves. Now, of course, predators and prey are kept apart. So the lions have their own area where they have like a big Pride Rock kind of an area, and they can lay out on that, and it's not air conditioned, but it's refrigerated. So there's hidden elements to keep the animals entertained and happy and in view. And it's absolutely stunning what they've been able to do at this park.
The savannah is huge. That whole area, the safari, is huge. But there's even bigger areas backstage. The animals are never forced to be out in view. There are areas where they can go back and be in the shade. They can go back and take a nap. They are so well taken care of. And we've been to so many zoos, local zoos, where we just cringe because you can tell if the animals are happy, if the animals are cared for. A lot of non-AZA accredited zoos just make me super sad. I can't even do them.
I remember as a kid going to the Los Angeles Zoo, and seeing these animals in cages.
Mm-hmm.
And couldn't understand why anybody would put an animal that's built to roam large-scale areas in a very small enclosure.
For its whole life.
Yeah.
That's how they live.
Where at Disney's Animal Kingdom, like I said, they're not only free to roam, but Disney also puts a lot of money into conservation, and they do have some breeding programs for endangered species. So it is the background of Disney, not even a backstory. It's not something that was created by Imagineering as a backstory. It's a real place with real animals that is really fun and is very unique to Walt Disney World.
And educational. Walt loved edutainment. This is like the epitome. This is what he wanted the original Jungle Cruise to be. He wanted the original Jungle Cruise to be live animals, and they didn't have a way at the time to do that successfully so that they could take care of the animals and the guests and do it in a way that was feasible. This is like the culmination of that dream for Walt, which is one of the reasons that I love it so much, because it actually does bring that dream to life for him.
A lot of this started with the Living Seas at Epcot when it first opened, where they were doing not only conservation, but also rescue and rehabilitation for sea life. Disney's Animal Kingdom does the same thing. They have a complete animal hospital at the back of the park. You can actually go back there and see it by taking Rafiki's Planet Watch train.
Oh, spoilers. We're going to talk about that in a
We
minute.
will talk about that back to there. But you can actually look in and see where they do not only checkups, but actual surgery and saving the lives of these animals.
You don't get to witness surgeries. Let's just put that right out there.
That is a good point.
We will talk about that in just a second, but don't be afraid. You're not going to walk in on something that you don't want to see.
That's a very good point. Very good point.
Let's talk a little bit also about the fact that a lot of people treat this as a half-day park.
Oh, that's a very good point. That's a very good point.
Now, why do people tend to do that? Rod, fill us in.
Well, the park itself, even though it's the largest of the parks, has the least amount of attractions. It does have some e-ticket attractions that we'll talk about momentarily. It has some things for kids. But this is generally considered a half-day park because they also have the shortest hours.
Yes.
They open at 8 a.m. and close at 6 or 7 p.m. year-round. There's no nighttime spectacular because this is a park with animals. They cannot do fireworks. There are no straws.
They choose not to do fireworks.
Well,
I do want to make clear
I think that's part of AZA's.
It is, but I just want to make that clear that they are choosing that
That's a
because
very
we
good
are
point.
saying that they take care of those animals so well that they don't even do something that would benefit them financially by staying open later.
That's a very good point. One of the most disturbing things is that if you go into a restroom, the doors all have locks that lock from the inside, and this is in case an animal escapes. That's part also of being a zoo, or not a zoo, but because there are live animals, they actually have places where you can go to get away from not only tornadoes, but tigers.
Right.
So
Just
we found
in
that
case.
out by asking a cast member one time. It's like, oh, that's disturbing.
And we should also point out that it has not happened.
It has never happened. No, since it's a modern built facility, it was built with modern technology on how to keep animals separate, but also how to make it look like you're close to the animals, but ensuring that they stay within their enclosures. And their
Yes.
enclosures, again, are huge. Don't think old school zoo. Think San Diego Wild Animal Park. Think
Yes.
Omaha Zoo,
Huge,
where they have just
open,
huge open areas.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So yeah, let's talk about why you should include Animal Kingdom in your plans. Who is it for? We are going to say right out front, it is like all of the Disney parks, it has something for everyone. So let's start with the kids. If you have kids in your group, what is there that the kids are going to enjoy?
Well, we just talked about Rafiki's Planet Watch. It is an area where you can take a train back to this area with a petting zoo. Kids love it. You can give the goats scritchy scratchies and feed them little goat pellets. I'm not sure what.
I don't know what they eat.
And
They
you
eat everything. So
they
watch your
do.
scarves if you have a scarf.
And apparently they make jelly beans. I
They
did not
do.
know that.
Yeah, just like rabbits.
Yeah. Anyway, it's also an area where you can learn how to draw Disney characters. It's I forget what they call it. Animation Academy, I believe is what they call that.
That sounds right.
And that same concept is on the Disney Cruise Lines, and it's been at Disney's California Adventure.
It was
It's
at Disneyland for a while in the America Sings building.
That's right. They've had it in several different places, but Here you can go back and sit with a Disney artist and watch them teach you how to learn how to draw a Disney character.
And it is hands-on. You actually draw.
Yeah, and it's usually an animal like Simba or somebody that is going to be part of Disney's Animal Kingdom.
Bruce the Shark is one of them, and yeah, Simba's one of them. They have a whole range of them, so you never know who you're going to get, but it's always going to be one of those fun animals. And we should say some of the animals at Rafiki's Planet Watch that you can give Scritchy Scratchies to, some of them are famous. The pig that they base Pua on lives at Animal Kingdom. So we definitely recommend going, giving them those loves and some treats if they have them available. They don't always, because, they can't just keep eating treats. But if they have them available, give them a little treat.
No people food. No people food.
No people food. That is a fun thing, though, for kids especially, but literally for anyone, I think. And even just the train ride itself back there is so nice. It's like 5 minutes. It's not a very long train ride, but it is fun. And you do go by that hospital that we talked about. And like we said, you're not going to see any surgeries. No kids are going to come by and ask you why that tiger is open.
Right.
It's just
He's a stuffed animal. They're just refilling him with fluff. Yeah.
But you can see them doing checkup things and checking their teeth and, sort of more routine things. But you can see how they actually do take care of the animals in real time. It's very cool. And again, very educational.
Unlike some of the other Disney parks that have lands dedicated to kids, like Toy Story Land at Hollywood Studios, Fantasyland at Magic Kingdom, really, there is not a kids area specifically at Animal Kingdom. The closest to that would be Dinoland USA. And like we said, there's a countdown to extinction. Ha! See what I did there?
That was good.
That was the original name for that attraction. Anyway, there is a countdown to extinction because this area will be removed in 2025-ish. We haven't heard an exact date yet, but we're thinking it's coming up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And being replaced by an area called Tropical Americas.
Which we're hugely excited for.
Dinoland is one of those areas that has a backstory Imagineering gave it that's kind of hard to find, but it's there.
If you know it, it adds a lot to the experience, but if you don't know it, it just looks like a junky place that shouldn't be open.
Paved over a parking lot.
Yeah, which literally is part of the backstory. Like, I get it, but if you don't... Okay, a soapbox. If you don't know the backstory, it shouldn't take away from your experience.
Yes, like Paradise Pier when it first opened at California Adventure.
Yes.
Didn't look like it belonged in a Disney park. Well, Dinoland kind of looks that way.
It does not belong in anything that Walt would have built.
But for kids, there is the boneyard. You can take them in and they can dig up dinosaur bones.
Literally dig them up.
Literally dig them up. Think of Tom Sawyer Island with a sandbox. That's kind of that area.
Well, and there's things that they can run on and slide on and jump on and things that make dinosaur noises if you step in the right place. And there's all kinds of places for them to just get some energy out. I'm hoping that they find some way to recreate this experience in Tropical Americas because it really is a valuable part of the park, I think.
I could see that being moved over to by where Indiana Jones is going, which is the dinosaur attraction. We'll talk about that in a few moments because that's definitely not for kids.
Right.
Not only does it have a height requirement, it scares adults. So we'll talk about that a little more in a moment. However, there is also the Triceratops Spin, which is Dumbo. Well, every park's got a spinny ride, but they've got theirs, and it's cute, and it plays 80s music.
Which is fun for the grown-ups. So that is a really fun part. And again, these are there probably through the end of 2024. We haven't heard a date yet, but if you want to experience these one last time, make sure that you are going ASAP because they won't be around for long.
Yeah. So you've got one on this list that I'm curious about. It has a bunch of question marks after it.
It does. One of the things for kids on my list is it's tough to be a bug.
Is that for kids?
I don't know who it's for. The original assumption was that it's a show for children. It's an animatronic /screen /4D sort of show, kind of like Muppets.
Terrifying nightmare.
Yeah. So this is inside the Tree of Life. There's a fantastic Hopper animatronic. If you are familiar with it, A Bug's Life movie, this is what it is. The bugs all come in and they show you what it's like to be a bug. And it's a cute idea. Flick is adorable. He comes in from the ceiling at one point and he's there and Hopper's terrifying. But honestly, nobody leaves thinking about the animatronics. They think about the giant spiders falling from the ceiling, the
hornet
stink bug,
stinging you. Oh.
the hornet stinging you in the back, the bugs that crawl out under your bum.
Can I be the first to say, ew?
Who thought this was a good idea?
It is a kid's show, but it is not a kid's show.
It's not a kid's show.
I've never once been in it where there wasn't at least one child screaming.
Exactly. It's one of those things that if you can see it with a kid, the kid's not going to make it through the entire show. But we put it in the kids section of this podcast because it was made for kids.
Right.
I don't understand, but
someone
use
who
your
didn't
discretion.
have kids.
Yeah, there you go. Or somebody who hated kids. That's one of those.
That could very well be. So yeah, it went in the kids section because we didn't really know where else to put it. We don't know who this show is for. It is going away soon and being replaced by a Zootopia show, and we are super excited about that.
Cannot wait. If you've been to Disney California Adventure in California, this was part of a Bugs Land, since has closed, which is now part of Avengers Campus. But it's that same show. So if you've seen it there, you know what to expect at Animal Kingdom.
And you can be pre-terrified while you're waiting.
Good point.
So, yeah. But there are some other good things for kids that are actually enjoyable for children. Rod, tell us about the next one.
My favorite one for kids, this is called Feathered Friends in Flight. It is a show that is the live bird show that we were kind of referring to earlier. And again, it's teaching you about birds in natural habitat using natural behaviors to show you what birds do. I mean, obviously they fly. There's a lot of birds flying around you. If you've been to Universal Studios, you've probably seen shows similar to this. I've also seen shows like this at the SeaWorld parks over the years. And it is the only live animal show at Animal Kingdom. They don't have dancing dogs or jumping dolphins. They have a bird show, and it is fun. You get a chance, take your kids to it, but this is one that adults would love too.
Yes. It is a multi-generational thing, I think. As well as the other shows, which are also very kid-friendly, which are Festival of the Lion King.
Love that show.
It's phenomenal for literally every age. We'll hit that again
It'll
later.
make you cry.
It literally does. It's so good. It is the talent is so talented. It's just an incredible show. Tells you the story of the Lion King, but in a celebratory way, in that you are experiencing the music and the characters, but in an artistic, reimagined way. It is so beautiful. Highly, highly recommend that show. The other show is Finding Nemo, Big Blue and Beyond. Another very fun musical performance. They use large puppets. The Crush puppet is amazing. The effects that you see and the characters in this song is because Finding Nemo is not a musical, but they make it a musical and it works.
Well, the song Big Blue World from the attraction at Epcot is also repeated in the show.
Which was so smart. And all the songs were written by the team that wrote all the music for Frozen. So you know it's good. But those shows are very kid-friendly, very enjoyable for the whole family. Gives you a chance to get into the AC for a little bit, off your feet. The benches are not comfortable. It's a win for all.
Being a zoo, there's monkeys and otters and other creatures around as you first walk in. Take your kids and walk them through the oasis. It's the very beginning, opening part before you get to where the stores and everything are in Animal Kingdom. And look for all of the animals that you can find. But as soon as you get into Discovery Island, the first Main Street area, there is an otter exhibit. In that otter area, you can walk down under the water. Well, you don't walk under the water, but you walk down to where you can see under the water, and you can see the otters playing with each other. We caught them one morning as they had just first ran out, and they ran out and slid down the rocks into the water and played like little kids. And it was one of the most endearing things I've seen at that park.
Seriously, it became a core memory immediately. It's one of those things that will always, always make me smile. It was such a great time. There's also big habitats where you can see monkeys playing. They have cotton-top tamarins out there that you can watch. They just swing and mess with each other, and they just have the best time. You can just tell that they are just enjoying life, and you get to watch them just enjoy.
And they play like little kids.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
just love it. I just love it.
It's so fun. So don't miss those experiences. There's a Komodo dragon, and there's an aardvark, and there's all kinds of animals as you're walking into the park proper, and they are not to be missed. So don't just walk past.
And yes, folks, they are real animals. I've actually heard people talk about them when they first walk in going, they look so real. How do they do that?
Especially that Komodo dragon. He doesn't move very much, but yeah.
They're real animals. part of those real animals are the birds that fly. Like, well, we talked about the bird show, but they have a different encounter. It's called Winged Encounters. The Kingdom Takes Flight. It's a scheduled bird release that happens somewhere over Animal Kingdom. I don't know where they're coming from, but they all land all at once on Discovery Island near these cast members that then talk about them. There's parrots and macaws and just the most colorful birds you will ever see in a park. And they fly in and they're there to get food, obviously. They're not trained. They're there to know, hey, there's breakfast over here. But several times within the morning hours, you'll see them fly into this one location on Discovery Island, and it's breathtaking.
And you can look this up under the shows section in the app so that you can make sure that you see it. But it's one of those things. It's a wonder to behold. You can enjoy it as an adult, but kids, of course, will definitely gravitate towards this. It's something to remember.
So during the Christmas season is one of my favorite things to do with the kids, but even as a Disney adult, I think this is one of my favorite things. It's called the Merry Menagerie, and it's puppets, but they're not puppets. I think these things are real.
And they're like stylized. There's like a polar bear and a penguin and a baby seal, but they're all stylized so they almost fit into the new style that's going into Encanto, into Tropical Americas on the carousel.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
Sort of that like handmade woodwork kind of feel.
They are like a wooden puppet.
Yeah.
And people are obviously there manipulating them, but these things have a personality.
They really do.
And you'd watch them on YouTube. That's the only thing I can say.
Or go see them in person. It's
Even
one
better.
of those things that if you are bringing kids, even if you're not, but definitely if you're bringing kids during the Christmas season, do not miss this. It's one of the only things that Animal Kingdom does during the Christmas season, because there's not a nighttime spectacular, there's not fireworks, there's not parades.
They do have a Christmas tree.
They do. Well,
Yeah.
They have a giant tree of life.
Well, that's true.
But yeah, definitely don't miss the Merry Menagerie.
And I guess all the parks, of course, have the meet and greets.
Yes.
So you can meet Mickey and Minnie, and they're in their safari outfits, but there's some other ones that are, I think this is actually some of the more obscure ones. You can see Pocahontas with Miko a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Moana's
there. Chip and Dale currently are in their adorable dino costumes.
It's so cute. Oh my gosh.
I'm really sad that that's going to be going away. I'm not really sad to see Dino Land go away or the ride Dinosaur go away, but Chip and Dale in their dinosaur costumes, I'll be sad to see those go.
My favorite, though, I think, besides the Chip and Dale, because they're just amazing, but Kevin from
She's awesome.
She is amazing.
So she's the big bird, and she sounds kind of like this.
You, get out of here. Go on, beat it.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. And she doesn't pose for a meet and greet. She doesn't have a line that you can join to do a meet and greet. She just kind of wanders around, kind of over on the bridge area, and she's just adorable. So if you have a chance to meet her.
She dances with the music. And
yes.
It's one of the cutest things. It's just amazing. The friends of Kevin, I'll put it that way, are spectacular.
Absolutely.
They do such a good job with Kevin. Anyway.
So let's talk a little bit about food, because Animal Kingdom does have some of the best food, I think, but a lot of it is a little more exotic flavors, because you have Asia, you have Africa, you have Pandora. These are all going to be a little more foreign flavors if you're bringing kids with you. So good spots to look at.
Well, for pizza, I would say Pizzafari.
Pizzafari for sure.
It's the typical Disney puffy pizza that you're going to get at Pizza Rizzo and other places within the parks, but it's standard fare for kids.
And it's not great, but you'll get things that are recognizable to the kids. And Restaurantosaurus, again, is going to be going away. We don't know what's going to be replacing it. But in Dino Land right now, that's a good option. Standard burgers, salads.
Chicky Nuggies,
yeah. This is where you can find stuff for picky eaters. But our recommendation for kids is to do Tusker House.
Yeah, it's the only character dining you're going to find at Animal Kingdom, and it's actually some of the best from what I've seen.
Yes. It is currently $47 for adults, $30 for kids for breakfast. That's when you're going to get, that's the bargain pricing.
Yeah, and that's a buffet.
Yes.
breakfast buffet.
But with a little more exotic flair to it, too. So if you do want to try a couple of African flavors, you can find some very easy ways to introduce those flavors at this buffet. And if you just want to do Mickey waffles and eggs, you can do that, too.
I believe they have Simba waffles there, too.
They do.
Which is really cool.
It's so cute. And then if you want to do lunch and dinner at $62 for adults and $40 for kids, again, that's like literally right now, September 2024. Prices change all the time, so check those out when you are doing it. And yeah, highly recommend.
The other option, of course, is Rainforest Cafe.
Which we don't recommend.
We don't recommend. It's over at Disney Springs, but there is a location at the entrance, the front entrance of Animal Kingdom.
It actually has its own entrance.
It does. You can walk into the restaurant, have food, and walk into your own private entrance into the park.
Which is pretty cool. You can actually do that without having the mediocre food at high prices as well. So if you want to, if the front entrance is crowded for some reason, you can go in that way.
Yeah, a little secret tip there.
So let's move on to if you're bringing teenagers with you, because teens can be a difficult crowd. No matter where you're going, they always think they're too cool for school when you talk about going to Disney. So what are some things at Animal Kingdom that teenagers might enjoy?
If they like getting wet, Collie River Rapids. It's a standard rafting ride like you see at Six Flags or any of the other parks that are out there. Very short. It's great when there's a lot of heat around Disney, which is probably most of the time. But it is very wet. It's the typical rafting ride. And I don't enjoy it myself because I don't like squishy socks and squishy underwear at the park. But teens seem to love it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those things that for some reason when you're a teenager, it seems like a great idea to go get completely drenched head to toe. I don't know what that is, but I did it at Magic Mountain. Yeah,
Magic Mountain, Knott's.
Grew out of it for some
California Adventure, even.
Magic Mountain. Oh, yeah. I said that.
Yeah.
All the mountains. But another one that the whole family might enjoy as long as you're tall enough is going to be Flight of Passage. It's a very popular ride, gets an extremely long queue. It is that park's fancy ride. What do we call that?
Lightning Lane Single Pass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Flight of Passage is theirs again. That's in Pandora. You get to ride on the back of an Ecron. And it's a very cool experience. If you haven't done it, it is super cool. The ride vehicle itself is very unique. There is a test vehicle outside, so you want to make sure that it works for you.
Almost Tron Light Cycle Run.
Yeah.
In a way. You straddle.
Except that it doesn't squeeze your legs.
Right.
So that is a big difference. But it is one that, as long as you're tall enough, multi-generations will love this ride. It brought me to tears the first time I rode it. It is an experience.
It's almost like a 3D version of Soarin'.
Yeah.
But you start, you don't get lifted in the air. You start in a single position in a very large scale room in front of a screen.
Yes. But you can feel the Ecron breathing under you, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful experience. And there's nothing scary. The first time I rode it, I didn't know, and I was like waiting the whole time for something to jump out or something. It's not. Just enjoy the ride.
Yeah, beautiful attraction.
It really is.
If you're into coasters, their one coaster is Everest. Expedition Everest. Legend of the Forbidden Mountain.
The Legend of the Disco Yeti.
Yeah, there's a big, long backstory we won't bore you with, but basically it is the Matterhorn on steroids.
Yeah.
So if you're used to Disneyland. It is a coaster that goes both forward and backwards. It's 55 miles an hour. It's not a high thrill attraction, but it is very fun. It's exhilarating as far as coasters go.
It's super fun. I really enjoy this one. I don't care for the backwards part anymore because I'm old, but the rest of it I really like. Yeah,
the theming is fantastic. Even the queue, and we've talked about this queue in a couple different episodes. Very, very, very well themed attraction. The big reveal in this attraction is the Yeti that you've heard about. We call her Betty the Yeti. We meaning everybody on Earth. And used to be very, very dynamic in the motions. In other words, had a lot of motion. Now it just stands there and has disco ball effects like strobe light.
Little strobe effect, yeah, to make her look like she's moving more than she is, because she was actually working to bring down the mountain.
Tearing the mountain apart, yeah.
They stopped doing that. But it's still a great ride, even without that movement. So
this one has a single rider line, so if you're there with teens and the teens want to ride and you don't, or if the kids are too small, have them go through the single rider line. A lot of times it will be a third of the weight of the attraction.
If the kids are too small, they can't go through the single rider line.
No. I mean, if you're waiting with the small ones and
Just to
your
clarify.
teens want to go ride,
There we go.
That makes more sense. That is good. Very good point.
Another one that the teens will enjoy would be Dinosaur, which again is going away, but it is being replaced by an Indiana Jones attraction very similar to what is already in existence at Disneyland and Tokyo. We don't love Dinosaur because it's loud and dark, unnecessarily loud, I will say, but we love Indiana Jones. We're excited for what's to come, but teens seem to love this ride. So if you're there before the end of the year, Dino will definitely be on your list for any teens in your group.
And then after those 5 attractions, the best thing for a teen to do is park hop over to Hollywood Studios and spend the rest of the day over there while you have a great day at the park without them.
Okay, bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Bye. Okay. Are they all gone? Is everybody gone? Huh? Good.
That is true.
Yeah, I mean, we're not dishing on the teens.
We just know what we know.
We know what we know. It's so if the teens want the higher energy attractions, they're probably going to want to go back to studios at that point.
If they happen to be more artistically inclined, they might also enjoy the Rafiki artist class out there, and they might enjoy exploring the paths around the Tree of Life, because that was something that I would have been interested in, just from a more artistic angle. The Tree of Life is carved with, I used to know the number, a whole bunch of animals.
Lots of animals. All the animals.
And they're incredible. They're absolutely incredible. The detail that's in them is just stunning. So that may be something, but you know your own kids. You would be able to know if that's something they would enjoy. As far as food goes, my highest recommendation for a teen crowd would be Flame Tree Barbecue. It's good for everybody. There's something for everybody there. You can get something as simple as mac and cheese, or you can get all kinds of barbecue food, which is sort of a crowd pleaser in general. So,
also the Yak and Yeti walk up is good for like orange chicken, sweet and sour type of things. More
fantastic egg rolls.
Yeah, more Asian inspired fare, but also a very good place. Teens usually will find something on the menu here that they would eat.
They could also go an entire day and eat nothing but snacks, which sounds ridiculous, but the level of snacks at Animal Kingdom is on par with Epcot, I would say. Yeah, the fries at Mr. Kamal's, the corn and other things over at Africa, at the little walk-up market out there at the marketplace. There's cheeseburger pods and build your own bowl over at Satuli Canteen in Pandora. The buffalo chicken chips over in Dinoland. Don't know if those are going somewhere else. Yeah. Yeah. Chicken fried rice and the egg rolls at the walk-up that you mentioned are fantastic. Outside Yak and Yeti. There's mac and cheese with pulled pork and barbecue sauce at one of the little walk-up stands or at Flame Tree Barbecue. There's a lot of snackage going on that they could totally make a whole, and so can you. Like, adults can do this too. It's actually a great way to go. Well, let's talk about adults. Speaking of adults. This is more Disney adult type of attractions. This is not Epcot, so there's not a lot of edutainment here, but there are a lot of fun attractions that Disney adults will enjoy without having to get wet or without having your body thrown around at 65 miles an hour. Although you can do that too. You can do that, yes. I mean, I'm a coaster enthusiast. I like Everest. Sue likes Everest. Again, the backwards portion, if you're a little older, can make you a little nauseated, I think. But for sure. Still fun to ride at least once. One of my favorite ones, though, is the very high-tech but very low, thrilling Navi River Journey, which is the other attraction in Pandora. It usually has a very long wait because it's one of those ones with not a great capacity. So this is a good one to get a lightning lane for, or use a lightning lane for. It's on the multi-pass, so you can get that one as one of the first ones that you book for the day. And usually it's not going to sell out. And, well, we shouldn't say that because we don't. Yeah, because it can change. I've noticed recently, I take that back, it actually, since the change, it has been selling out because there just are less passes available than there are for the higher capacity attraction. Well, and there's less attractions there. Yeah, very good point. But while we're on that subject, let's just take a second to talk about not Genie Plus. We're going to talk about the Lightning Lane Multipass because you don't need it at Animal Kingdom. If you are planning to spend your whole day at Animal Kingdom, you do not need the Multipass, Lightning Lane Multipass.
Lilu Dallas Multipass.
Lila, multipass. She knows it's a multipass. Barks happen. Yeah, she knows it's a multipass.
Lightning Lane holds you. I will get it. You do not need the skip the line service.
Except for maybe if you want to buy the single pass for Flight of Passage.
Yeah, which is an entirely separate purchase.
Yeah.
The only time that I would recommend having that skip the line service is if you are planning to park hop later in the day and you want it for that.
Or
if you're doing the whole day at Animal Kingdom, you do not need it.
Yeah, during the holiday periods too, you might get it. If you're already purchasing it for the other days, then you'll have it for this day as well. And you might find you will get some use out of it, I'll put it that way. But don't use it for the shows. Right. Use it for Navi River Journey, use it for Kilimanjaro, use it for Everest.
Actually, I'm gonna disagree with you.
Okay.
Because I do think you should use it for Festival of the Lion King.
Oh, that's a good
That show
point.
can be hard to get into.
Especially in the holiday periods.
Yes.
Yeah, you can wait up to 2 shows to get in.
Now, would I buy the multi-pass just for that? No.
No.
But if you're going to have it anyway, I would recommend using it for Festival of the Lion King.
Yeah, even during the high volume, the busy periods, you can usually walk into Nemo or the bird show without having to do it. You definitely never need it for Tough to Be a Bug.
For sure. Don't bother.
Oh, Dinosaur's a good one to use it on as well.
Yeah.
Well, the shows. We just mentioned them several times, but Disney adults are going to love Festival of the Lion King. They're going to love the bird show. They're going to love Nemo because there's some nostalgia there.
Yeah, you could do those even without kids, for sure.
Yeah, but don't miss Lion King. If again, we've said this before, do not miss Festival of the Lion King. It is an amazing show. It started out as a parade at Disneyland when I worked there, and actually I think when you worked there.
Yeah.
And those floats then were shipped to Florida to add in more capacity to Animal Kingdom when it first opened, and it was part of Camp Mini Mickey at the time in its own theater.
Which was the kids' play area, basically.
Yes, exactly. And that's where Pandora is now. So that was moved to a brand new theater, a decade ago?
A long time ago, yeah.
And it's over in Africa now. And you cannot miss the show. If you're going to go to do anything at the park, do that show.
Along with that is the rest of the live entertainment that happens. There is tons of streetmosphere that goes on. This is something for everybody. The acrobats are incredible. There's all kinds of singers and dancers that just fill the streets with joy and music and song, and it is so, so good. It is immersive, and it is joyful, and it is so wonderful. So if you happen to pass by, or there's someone that you actually want to seek out, look in your app to see when they're going to be playing at different times, but don't miss the streetmosphere, especially if you're there with just grown-ups, but kids love it too. Absolutely. Another great way for them to get some energy out is to go dancing and with that incredible music. So don't miss the streetmosphere.
Most all of it is in Discovery Island, which is the first land you enter in Animal Kingdom as you walk in before you get to Tree of Life. And then in Harambe, which is the Africa area.
Just over the bridge.
Just over the bridge, yeah.
And you'll hear it as you cross over the bridge. You'll hear it over there. It's fantastic.
There are 2 walking trails. This is, like we said, it is a zoo.
But it's not a zoo!
Not a zoo, but it's a zoo. So there are 2 walking trails. One is Gorilla Falls, and the other one is Maharaja Jungle Trek. They're just what they sound like. There are a myriad of different simians on the Gorilla Falls trail, and beautiful, beautiful tigers and other cats over along the Maharaja Jungle Trek. Both of those walks are paved and flat, so they're open to people of all abilities. And there's actually a lot of quiet spaces in there, so if you're looking for some place to take somebody who has sensory issues, those 2 trails are some of the better places to do that.
And I do want to mention also that the Maharaja Jungle Trek also includes a chance to see the Okapi, which happen to be my favorite. I love them. They look like elk wearing pajama bottoms of zebras.
It's like zebra leggings.
But they're actually
amazing.
They're incredible, but they're actually the closest relative to a giraffe.
And, okay, we talked about this attraction before, and this really is for everybody. Everybody we've talked about, kids, teens, and adults. And it is the key attraction to Animal Kingdom. It is called Kilimanjaro Safaris. It's over half the park in size because it has that amazing savanna that we talked about. But not only do the animals get to live there, you, as a guest at Disney, can go there. Kilimanjaro Safaris is in the Africa area, so if you walk into the park, just keep walking straight. You'll cross over all the bridges and eventually end up at Kilimanjaro Safaris. It does run in the rain. It runs in the mornings, runs in the evenings, all day long. The best time to do it is early in the morning when the animals are happy in the cool air, or late in the evening. It does not run after sundown.
It does not run until park closed. It will close early, so make sure that you look at what the last time is. You don't want to miss this ride.
You travel by truck through the, I guess you could call it an off-road type adventure. It's actually, there is a ride system that goes with it. I won't get into the details, but it's amazing how they operate this attraction. But they are driven by cast members, and they have live narration that tell you about all of the animals you're seeing, and even a few that you're not seeing. And it originally opened with this horrible storyline where you were trying to save elephants from poachers, and they actually showed you what was an animatronic of a dead elephant.
A dead mama elephant, and you had to find the baby.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
a horrible...
It was horrible. It only lasted that way for, I think, just over a year.
I don't even think it lasted that long with the dead mama.
Oh, no, I think you're right. They softened it and changed it. Well, all of that's gone. It's actually just a ride through now.
The animals are the show.
Yes,
they didn't need a storyline.
Yeah, it's just an amazing attraction, but it's the whole reason that Animal Kingdom is there.
Yes.
Is this savannah that you get to go through. If you have the chance and you're looking for an upgrade and want to tour the savannah even in a more, I don't want to use the word bougie, that's the bad word, but it's a little more upscale way.
A little more behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes. There you go. There is what is called the Wild Africa Trek.
We've talked about this a little bit before because we did get to experience it a couple of years ago. But yes, it is 1,000% worth the extra cost.
Yeah, it runs a little over $250 per person. It is not inexpensive, but you get to go backstage to where the savannah is by walkway. You get harnessed up and you get to walk across rickety bridges across the top of the alligators. Yeah, it's all safe, perfectly safe. But you get to go through parts of the park that you can only see from the attraction. And it also includes a lunch out on the savannah. You can actually sit in a boma, which is the little, it's not really a hut, it's a little more upscale. They have restrooms, but they give you a cold lunch that, if listen to our episode where we talk about it, it goes into more detail. But food created by Tiffin's, which is one of the upscale restaurants in the park. And it was one of the most magical things I've ever done. I see Sue nodding along too.
You get on one side you see the elephants over there and the flamingos, and on the other side of where you're eating you see the giraffes and the antelopes and the Tommies, and it is so magical to just sit out there and absorb this incredible nature and take all the pictures you want, and you're enjoying this incredible meal. And didn't we have wine? Didn't they bring us wine?
They had an option, I believe they did, some South African wine at the time, as well as...
I'm having trouble remembering now.
I believe they did.
And
yes.
Pog juice, they had Pog.
Yes, they did. And it was so good.
The whole experience, it wasn't even, the food was good. It wasn't about the food. It was about the whole experience. About
able to be there eating a lunch, watching these animals.
Yeah, while they were watching you.
Yeah.
But it was so cool. And getting to feed the hippos, you got to toss cabbage heads to them, and walking over that bridge with the alligators, and the whole thing was just so magical beginning to end. It was amazing. If you're doing something that's a special celebration, or you're celebrating a birthday or an anniversary or something, this is the way to do it. It is so neat. Speaking of food, I think our collective minds came up with 2 different places that we would recommend for Disney adults. These are a little more upscale. Both of these are owned and run by outside companies. But one is called Yak and Yeti, and it's Asian fusion. And I've eaten there several times, and it's fantastic. It's owned by Landry's, and you can get a Landry's card, or if you belong to their club, you can get priority seating, which is fantastic. Even if it's busy, you're going to get seated. And you can join the club at Costco. You just buy a little thing. I think you can join it online now, too. Oh, I bet you can now. Yeah. That's true. The other one is Tiffin's. And Tiffin's, again, is an upscale experience. It is the priciest restaurant in Animal Kingdom by quite a bit. But if you don't want to go into the restaurant, you can enjoy the lounge. And we have talked about this. Every time we talk about Animal Kingdom, we have to mention Nomad Lounge.
One of the best places on the entire resort.
You have no idea you're still in a theme park. It is so peaceful and relaxing, and you sit there and if you sit outside, you're right by the water, and it's just beyond description.
One of the best cocktail menus and one of the best appetizer menus you're going to find anywhere on the Walt Disney World Resort.
And the food is from Tiffin's inside from the pricey restaurant, but you get to sit it while you're enjoying your cocktails in the lounge.
Here's a little hint. May not even see it on the menu. I don't know. It's been on and off. Ask for the bread service.
Yes.
It is beyond compare.
It is so good. Not as good as Sanaa, but still very good. But also, I do want to say these are by far the best churros you will find at Disney World.
Yes.
For some reason, Disney World churros pale in comparison to Disneyland churros. Don't know why they can't get their act together, but the churros at Nomad Lounge are truly delightful, and they are gluten-free. So if that's an issue for you, you can still enjoy them.
If you're looking for coffee, there's a Joffrey's outside the park, like all of the parks have, but there's also one inside in Asia, across from Yak and Yeti, and it's called the Andapur. I think you wrote it down.
Andapur. I didn't write it down. I should have written it down.
I think it's an Andapur coffee kiosk.
And tea or something like that.
Get your coffee here thing. Anyway, there's two Joffrey's locations, one outside, one inside, much like all of the other parks.
Very important for adults.
Not as Joffrey's heavy. Of course it is. Yes. It is, very much so. But it is not as Joffrey's heavy as Epcot. But there's less walking areas than Epcot, so
that's true.
That makes sense.
It evens out. And I do want to throw in, it's one of the best quick services on Disney property, I think, and that's Satu'li Canteen. They're sort of famous for their cheeseburger pods. I'm not a huge fan of those, which may be controversial. I don't know. But I love bao. These are basically a bao bun that's stuffed with a cheeseburger, which should be delightful, and it just wasn't. Well,
and we love the cheeseburger spring rolls over at the Adventureland entrance at Magic Kingdom. And for some reason, the cheeseburger pods at Satu'li kind of pale in comparison, in my opinion. But
the chips were good.
Yes.
But the thing there is you can, at Satu'li Canteen, you can build your own bowl, and you choose your protein, and you choose if you're having noodles or rice, and you choose all the lovely veggies and sauces that are going on there, and it's very customizable. And it's very, very yummy. So that is a great place. Because of that customization, you can please a lot of people that way.
Mm-hmm. The Starbucks location here is called Creature Comforts. It's on Discovery Island as you walk into the park. One of the best things, though, that happens at their Starbucks is that if you order a flat white, you can donate, or part of the profits will be donated to the Disney Conservation Fund. The DCF is a longtime nonprofit part of Disney that puts money back into the rehabilitation of the animals and the
conservation of their homes, like out in the wild. It also helps with like recycling efforts and those sorts of things. You can actually donate to Disney's Conservation Fund at any of the cash registers in the park and merchandise or inside the stores. But that one that Rod was talking about, those funds it's specifically if you buy a flat white, and it goes specifically to the cotton top tamarin monkeys, which I just think is adorable.
They're so adorable.
Because they also have the white top.
Oh, they have a flat
like
white
the flat
top.
white.
Hey, I never thought about that. That's interesting.
So I just think that's so cute. Yeah, anytime you go, ask. If they don't ask you, you can ask them. You get a button that says that you donated to the Conservation Fund. And you can just round up, or you can donate as much or as little as you see fit.
Well, folks, that is why we suggest you include Disney's Animal Kingdom as part of your Walt Disney World vacation.
There's so many reasons.
It's
such a good
many.
park.
Oh, it's such a gorgeous park. Oddly enough, with all the trees and all of the foliage, it's the hottest park, too, for some reason. We don't know. Maybe it's because it's in a different county.
But it has, but it has so much shade. Yeah. Which I enjoy, so I think it evens out.
Too, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a beautiful park. If you get the chance and you're looking at maybe going to a water park or Animal Kingdom, I would choose Animal Kingdom over the water parks.
And, we started off this episode by saying some people treat it as a half-day park, and ride-wise, it can be a half-day park. But if you take your time and enjoy it, you could absolutely spend the whole day there. If you are more flexible in your schedule, I would recommend if you're going to do a half-day, do the second half of the day, because it opens the earliest, which means everyone else is rope dropping Animal Kingdom, which means they're leaving to park hop to other parks at that midday point. So if you are spending the midday and the afternoon and the evening you are going to get so much ride time in, and just quieter crowds, quieter atmosphere. It is lovely in the afternoons.
And if you're there between Thanksgiving, roughly November, when the time changes, and the other time change in spring, you'll be able to see the lights come on in Pandora. Now, I should have mentioned this before we started our closing, but the Pandora lights, let me just put it this way, nothing compares to the lights in Pandora.
It's a completely different atmosphere at night.
And they don't have an evening spectacular, but they do have projection mapping on the Tree of Life.
They do.
And
that changes seasonally as well, we should say.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
They run right now during the normal season without the holiday. They run 4 different short videos on the Tree of Life.
They're like little vignettes, little stories.
Yeah.
And they're super cute.
So what else did we miss? What else do you like to do? Tell us in the comments. We'd love to hear what you think is the perfect day at Animal Kingdom.
And Rod, before we go, tell me your favorite animal to see on the safari.
My favorite animal to see... Oh, on safari. I was going to say my favorite animal is the otters.
Oh,
by
I
far.
love the otters.
On safari, I'm going to probably say... I like the okapis. I love the giraffes.
Yes.
To me, I think it's just old school. I love the elephants.
Yes, me too.
They're just amazing creatures to me.
It's hard to go wrong. I mean, they all have their own majesty.
The Thompsons, the Tommies.
Oh, the Tommies.
Are my
Thompson's
favorite.
gazelles.
The Thompson gazelles are my favorite.
You should begin to see a wide variety of grass-eating animals around you, such as Thompson's gazelle.
Miss Johnson, no one in Africa calls them Thompson's gazelle. They are Tommies. Over.
I love that. Those are all great choices. I've already said Okapi is my favorite, but yeah, they're all magical in their own way. And I love getting caught in the giraffe jam.
And the little pygmy goats at the very end.
Oh my gosh, so cute.
They're adorable when they
hop.
They especially if it's raining or has just rained. They're usually on top of the buildings hopping and dancing. It's so cute.
Yeah, if you are caught in a rainstorm at Animal Kingdom, you head straight to that safari because the animals get so active and so adorable. They love the rain, and that ride does not stop in the rain. It gets even better.
Before we go, we'd like to give a big thank you to our theme music composer, Jason Patrick Rowan, whose music is licensed to Pond 5. And of course, thank you, Phoenicians.
Thank you, Phoenicians. And don't forget to rate, review, like, share, and subscribe. It really does help other people find us. You can find us on social media on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts.
The Epcotian Adventure is a $1,000 brunch production and a proud gold member of D23. Thanks for joining us today for episode 84 of the Epcotian Adventure. I'm Rod.
And I'm Sue.
And we'll see you at Animal Kingdom. Rawr. Before we go, we'd like to... Oh, my God.
Would we? Do we want to do that?
We definitely want to do that. Before we go, we'd like you... What is with...
Do you want to trade?
Okay, one more time. Here we go.